for giving us your time today. This is VR Gamescast, and this is going to be a weird episode because we just came from a live broadcast here in these studios with Don Carson at Walkabout Mini Golf. It was a very, very cool discussion, so I'm going to hit the button on that to make that public. It was unlisted before. We streamed that first to UploadVR members, site members, so that's our first benefit, technically, for UploadVR site members to see that Don Carson interview first. And man, what a deep dive! I can't wait for you to see that, Don. You're going to learn stuff.
Wait.
I learned so much from it. It was really, really cool to have that deep dive discussion. And I see CJ out there in our comments. Go watch that video. I actually talked a little bit about the Doctor Who experience that I was looking through videos of recently over in Resonite. Quite an experience over there to see people go from world to world inside of a TARDIS that's bigger on the inside. That's the type of thing we cover here at UploadVR across our VR download and our Gamescast. I see Beck. I see Not Suspicious, Paradise Decay. Arlen was out there early in the comments. Arlen, you're going to need to come back to UploadVR on Thursday for the video that we're publishing on Thursday. Yeah, we talked about you with someone. Yeah, we named you. You're in our community. You're now known among the development community because it was important that we discussed with them the things you discuss with us. And that is the process here at UploadVR. So thank you to Beck out there for producing this show for us. And I'm gonna have to go pull up the list of patrons. I don't have them right now here in my studio. Don, what are we going to cover today?
Well, Ian, today I think we should talk a little bit in the beginning about our freelancers' impressions of the RTX 5090 and how that holds up under some VR testing in 3 really popular games right now. And then I think, just briefly, I know you and David already covered this extensively on Download last week. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check out that episode. It was a banger. But we're going to talk a little bit about the PSVR 2 hand tracking update for one of the all-time classic VR games, and that's Waltz of the Wizard. And then I think we should probably end the stream today by recapping our awesome 3rd developer stream that we did last week with Andrew Eiche, CEOwl of Owlchemy Labs. So, Ian, what did you think about our freelancers' impressions of the 5090?
Yeah, fascinating take here. So hopefully we've got that video up here in the background here showing this footage. And it was hard to do this because the PCVR community is a very demanding bunch. They're when you they're very critical, and they have spent years in some cases poring over the plans for their PCVR upgrade path, right? Like I've joked on previous streams, it's sort of like upgrading a house. Like, if I'm gonna upgrade the roof, then I might as well take out this wall, and if I take out this wall, I might as well put in another room. And that's how the buying process goes in your head of upgrading your PC or deciding whether you need to move house and start with a new PC. It's very much the same concept out there. And so what we did was this graphics comparison of just we wanted to capture the vibe with this freelancer of what's it feel like if you're the kind of person who has that budget to shell out for the 5090. What can you do with that kind of experience? And it's fascinating to do that kind of article knowing you're not going to do any bar charts and you're going to piss off some people for not doing any of those bar charts.
Exactly.
Because all we want to do here is show what those people with the greener pastures are doing with their rigs. Like, what are they, now that they've got their really nice car tuned up back at home, what are they experiencing? What's it feel like to fly in that kind of vehicle? And so we got Arcanage, we got Flight Simulator 2024, and what was the third one?
It was, let's see here, it was Flight Simulator 2024, Arcanage, and Fallout 4 mod.
yeah, with mods and Fallout
Yeah.
4. And like I've seen done, I'm still rocking a 2080 in my house right
Oh,
now.
oh,
I know.
oh, it hurts.
And
It hurts us. It hurts
right,
us.
it's what's silly is we've got so many weird computers around here. There's a laptop over here with 64 gigabytes of RAM in the
Mhm.
laptop, but it's running inside of a Mac.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
running
Isn't that
inside. It's
crazy?
locked. It's locked, buried inside of a Mac. You can't. I'm not going to touch any great games with that
Mhm.
RAM. Like that's not going anywhere near the frame rates I would like to have. And like then I've got this 2080 with a decent amount of RAM. What does it look like to do VR with 64 gigs or 100
I
and
mean, it
going
it
beyond
looks
that, right?
great.
Like,
I
yeah,
mean, it looks great. And, I don't have a 5090 just yet. I mean, I'm now kind of starting to feel the FOMO. It happens, us PC VR guys, PC enthusiasts in general. I do have a pretty powerful rig myself. I think we put it in articles, we put it in specs. I mean, currently I'm rocking a 13900K clocked at about 5.8 gigahertz, 64 gigs of DDR5. I've got the RTX 4090 Amp Extreme Zotac edition, and I'm running that all on a Asus ROG Maximus Hero motherboard, which is like a super high-end motherboard, lots of fast channels on it. So I can say what I saw in the article, it did look like there were some things that were a little bit, the shinies looked a little shinier maybe, but performance wise, I see that's where I'm not feeling FOMO just yet. I just haven't seen anything yet that has been shot or played on a 5090 that is making me go, do I really want to drop those dollars to change out a 4090, which is still a really capable card. Now, if I was on a 2080, or like Arlen, you said, he was commenting even before the show started, he's running a 3060. 3060 is still a pretty capable card. I mean, obviously showing its age at this point. But if I was on one of those cards, yeah, this is where I would really, really start to think about making the jump, because when you
yeah.
see the difference, Ian, it is stark. It is night and day. Playing Flight Simulator on my old 3080 rig, when I jumped to my 4090, even from a 3080 Ti, was night and day. It was like almost like a completely different game.
Wow, the commenters are really focusing in on this one. I'm seeing
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of people sharing their rigs and their
I
various
love this. I love it.
descriptions. Yeah, we have this whole rundown in the article of the writer having overclocked various components,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that they were using wireless for their streaming. They've got the overhead to compete with of the streaming format as well
Mm-hmm.
as the recording format, and then the complication of overclocking some of these things. And everyone out there who has those overclocked machines wants to know what is the ratio of like frames to dollars here,
Right.
right? Of
Right.
like of what they've done. Are they actually getting the right frames to dollar ratio that passes muster? And that's not what the article was, and it's not kind of what
No,
you can take
it's
away from this. And that's what we're seeing I think what we're seeing play out is like people starting to delve into those waters of like, yeah, they're just like, I'm happy in the
mm-hmm.
4090 gen. It sounds like you're happy in the
I am.
4090 gen. I'm still seeing the 4000 series gen, making a lot of people happy at medium settings in VR
No,
experiences.
and it's really what makes you happy. Exactly. I love that you said it and put it that way. And it's, to some people, they're never going to be satisfied if they don't have the newest, biggest, beefiest rig out there. I mean, that is just it's a mental state. It's like I have to have the best of the best of the best. But will you enjoy the game any less if you're not running it at 120 hertz frame rate, and you're not turning everything up to absolute maximum detail?
Yes,
No.
yes, I will. I'll know that the
Exactly.
pixels were there, and I will feel them in my bones.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, but there are people like my wife could care less. She's like, put me in a VR game. I don't care if it looks like Roblox. I don't care if it looks like Alien Rogue Incursion. She goes, I'm having fun either way. And it doesn't take a bunch of high-end graphics to make the magic happen where you become embodied and present in a VR world, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, fantastic. So that I'm seeing CJ in the comments out there, and thinking in my mind as we're talking about this, of that TARDIS moment, and the
Mhm.
idea that the thing I saw in those videos, and we'll have some article on it at some point, is like, how do you have four people in a vehicle together going to any world on a big list of worlds,
Yeah.
and how do you like handle this situation of, well, actually, what we need to do is load about 2 GB in assets
Mhm.
onto each of these four machines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, 2 GB of assets need to distribute out to four people. And while you're in this TARDIS waiting for things to load for the four of you, and that whole user flow and experience is a fascinating problem. And like, the PC VR users out there are some of the most, the strongest believers in the
Mhm.
world
Oh, yeah.
that one day, sooner or later, they will do what I just described, right? They
Oh, we will.
and three or four other friends are going to go into a TARDIS, and the 2 GB of assets are going to distribute to the four
Oh, God.
different devices.
That's
And
awesome.
then ding, it goes ding, and you go out the
How does
front
it
door
go?
of the
Does it go
TARDIS,
ding?
and the four of you are on a world that's prettier than No Man's Sky, or prettier than
Oh,
Red Matter 2. Like,
man, that's the
we want
dream.
it. You can feel it in your bones that it's coming, and
That is
all
the
of you are
dream.
on like a 15-year upgrade path for getting your
Mhm.
PCs to draw it for us in the year
So
2040.
So I gotta bring out the comment that Paradise Decay just made, Ian, and that is one thing though that I didn't touch on a minute ago that I will say, the higher the card, the better you can do this. So he says I'm running everything on max and between 130 and 150% resolution updates and getting a constant 90 FPS. So pushing that pixel density up, you go into Steam VR settings, you got that slider. Well, a lot of times people don't realize that you can actually bump the pixel density up and it's going to make everything look sharper, clearer. It's, something that if you haven't tried it and played with it, I know on my rig with my Quest 3 on Link, I can bump that thing all the way up to 200% and
Yeah.
usually hit frame rates depending on the headset. Now, if I'm, say, plugging in my Pimax Crystal or something like that, well, oh no, I'm going to keep it at about 100, because that's going to really, really, really tank even my PC, right? Trying to run those really high density displays. But, just that's another really good thing that he brought up there. And I wanted to bring that out is pixel density.
Yeah, and CJ mentioning that sometimes the TARDIS crashes. That was my favorite moment in the
Yes.
videos as I was going through them, just smiling from ear to ear as
Mhm.
they're describing that. I think it was one of the creators of this TARDIS said that, other people can touch the control panels inside the TARDIS, but if you do, the TARDIS crashes. So like it's right there, but it crashes. And I love that premise. There was one time I went into I was put in a go-kart, a mixed reality go-kart,
Oh,
a
nice.
physical go-kart in the real world, and they had
Oh,
strapped a
yeah.
Rift. They had strapped a Rift to this go-kart. I think it was a Rift, or an original Rift with even the sensors on it for 6 off tracking, and
Mhm.
like, holy moly. But they had a button on the steering wheel that reset your world location back to 0, and you were blindfolded so that you couldn't see where the button was as you're like doing this in a go-kart, going around as you're doing this in a go-kart, and going around this course in the physical world. So of course I go around 2 bends in this course, and I accidentally hit the button on the steering wheel and reset my whole world
Oh,
while
wow.
traveling in
Oh.
a go-kart at speed.
Oh, that would be so
Oh wow.
jarring. That would be like all of a sudden just having your world come to a complete stop and then changing position. It's like, yeah, I don't
Well, yeah,
know.
visually, you see the course suddenly, like the wall is coming at you. You don't
Yeah.
know when you're going to hit the wall. You just know that it's coming.
Oh
for
yeah,
a
no,
few
I
seconds.
Redline Joe saying he rode a roller coaster at SeaWorld with an HTC Vive. I actually did that when they started using the Gear VRs
Yep,
here
I did
at
that too at
Worlds of
Six
Fun.
Flags.
Yeah, and I got to say, you know me, I'm a motion sim enthusiast. I tell you, if you have never experienced high quality VR paired with synchronized motion, it is one of those missing links. I have got the yaw 1 currently, so I do still fly a lot in my yaw, in the old bowl, as I like to call it. I am talking to them actually about getting a yaw 3 in, so hopefully we'll be doing that here pretty soon. We can do some more flying on the channel, but it is just, Ian, it is the missing link, man. When you start synchronizing motion to video, it is just insane. And I could kind of, bringing it back home, I could see where a 5090 would also really help with stuff like that, with real high end simulation. So
Yeah. Arlen is saying that they caught up. The future is amazing. So that was Arlen
yes,
who
yes,
said that
7 minutes.
they had 7 minutes to catch up. It's now, I saw them at that. We're now at minute 15 of this podcast. So they've probably done 2x to get back to present with the rest of us. So thank you for Back to the Future and with the rest of us out there. I wanted to say thank you to our patrons out there. That's XR Developer News, Podum, that's the developer of Smash Drums, Holonet, Mike Manzano, Richard Meller, and Aaron Bellamy. Those are patrons over on UploadVR.com
Thank you,
who
thank you.
support us with an extraordinary amount of money each month. So thank you so much for that. As well as our members over on the site who got that heads up over on the site article with an article giving a heads up to the Don Carson stream we just put up. I will make that Don Carson stream public here when you're talking, now that I've mentioned our patrons, Don. I love the comments. People are still going on this ride with us. There's many ideas. I don't want to overpromise anything on this stream, but like the moment anyone on our staff upgrades to the 50
Oh yeah,
series,
oh yeah,
we need to like make that an event with our audience, I think, and
oh
kind
yeah.
of go through what's it look like to break out the chassis, what's the first game in there, what does it look like to performance
I
test the
mean,
machine.
I will
I know
gladly take the hit.
you'll
I
take
mean,
that bullet. You'll
I
take
would
that.
take that
You'll.
bullet, and I'd take several of them, and I just do it live on stream. So, y'all all please become members over at Upload VR, and just help us all get 5090s. Yeah, that'd be great. So,
Oh gosh, people are talking about the cords melting. Man, that connecting those
oh,
power supply cords, that's the moment where you're really in the thick of it, right?
oh
When
yeah,
yeah, you've got the power supply and it's
it's
like,
daunting.
how many watts are going through this thing, through this cord?
Yeah,
What?
it's daunting. I mean, if you've never built your own PC, the minute you put your hands in the case for the first time and you start looking at a motherboard and you kind of go animal in traffic, and these
Oh, I
days
put the
though,
motherboard in upside down.
yeah, don't do that. No, and and you forget to put the spacers on, and it's just like sitting on the case. It's just all the rookie
Metal to
mistakes
metal.
over the years. But it is daunting. But I will say it has gotten so much easier. I mean, building your own custom PC these days is kind of almost modular plug and play. Back in the day, there was some wiring, and you had to like move jumper settings for like different BIOS and stuff, and it was just messed up. Now it's just get the motherboard. Oh, this goes here. This goes here. This connects here. This connects here.
Yeah.
Slap it in the case. Screw it all together. Turn it on. You're ready to go.
So for the fans out there who aren't aware, I'm sure some of you will know about this, but check out the company Framework out there. Go look up Framework and check out their laptop system.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating company out there, which was founded by a former Oculus founder. So that is the technology on our heads, right? That we're enjoying and producing this stream for you right now. The next thing one of those people did was, hey, let's figure out how to give the experience you just described for a desktop PC to a laptop PC, right? Like let's figure out how to componentize. Yeah,
I got it.
nice.
Yeah. Hey, I got one for once. Nice.
Yeah, so we'll figure out how to do that for laptops. And I've been
Oh, and we're both wrong.
Beck's telling us we're both wrong. I refuse.
What is
I
it, Beck?
refuse. I'm going to accept Don's word. Don is correct.
I'm liking that. I'm liking your attitude today, Ian. I'm going to be correct today. That is
yeah. All right.
It's
well,
my day.
But so I love that. One of the Don, I removed the screen from a MacBook, right? And
Ooh.
that was the most modding I've ever done to a Mac computer in my life, and it was it was easier than I could ever imagine, right? All I had to do was buy like an $8 set of screwdrivers, and then
Yeah, you have to have the special screwdrivers for Macs. Yeah.
yeah, special, because they've got the special. So I've got my
Mhm.
my tool
Yep.
thing now has the ability to remove the screen of any modern MacBook, and it's so easy to
It's
do. You
not
just
hard.
like two ribbons pop out,
That's
and
it. Yeah.
then you've got a keyboard and no extra weight of the screen, and it's
Mhm.
really, really, really neat. So you've got like a broken screen on your MacBook around, suddenly you just get a USB hub with HDMI out, you rip that screen off of there, and you've got the same thing that I'm describing from
Oh, yeah.
Framework,
Absolutely.
except from Mac. And of course you can do the same things with all those PC
And
components.
not to get off topic, but I mean, it is like so many people, they break their screens on their laptops and they think, oh my God, I've got to take this to the Mac store. I've got to take this. I and they pay hundreds of dollars when they could order like a $50 panel and watch a YouTube video, get the little screws, the little torque screws that you have to get, and do it themselves. There are certain things I wouldn't say open
Compartmentalize.
up. I wouldn't say, like, I shared a office with a Mac technician, a certified Mac technician at the college that I worked for several years, and I watched him open several of them. I actually watched him get burnt and shocked a couple of times because Apples have a tendency to have a battery that tends to swell, and you have to have special,
Mhm.
like he had to have this special bucket with sand that he had to take the batteries and put them in because they're so dangerous. But so, I mean, there are certain things, I mean, don't go tooling around in your PC if you really don't know, especially a laptop with batteries, but definitely do look into upgrading your own GPUs. It is, kind of bringing it full circle here again. It is the easiest upgrade you can do to your PC, not the cheapest, obviously. I mean, these days GPUs do cost more than most of the rest of your entire PC put together. I know my 4090 cost me in like a little south of $2,000 when I bought it new. So where are you?
Yeah.
You're like
Well,
Macarenaing here.
I guess we should probably. Oh, I opened the door and closed it, and that caused the Wi-Fi to go weird. Hopefully, I'm
No.
back.
Yeah, you just like
Um,
jump. Yeah.
we should probably move on from this subject pretty soon. But
Yeah.
I'm seeing people are super engaged by the subject, so I'm not super excited to move on from it
Nah, I mean, I'm good.
too
I'd be good to
quickly.
talk about this for days. I love building PCs. I've been doing that for, geez, 20 some odd years now, since I built my very first PC. But I'm looking through the comments here, and I'm sorry, you just need 5 different specialized tools, an industrial hair dryer for the glue, and
Yeah,
spend
I love
several
that.
days researching whether or not Apple married the hardware. Yeah, that is true. That is
Yeah.
true. Definitely not as easy to work on your Mac as it is on your PC,
Well,
and that is by design.
you're right, but okay, so the $8 tool, and
Mm-hmm.
then it came off in 20 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
this component, which was really, really, really neat. But that's not, like we were just describing here, right? Okay, the machine that I want is a small mini design, right? With the highest end graphics card. And then I want to go crazy on the RAM so that I can do something weird on the machine in addition to the main task that I'm throwing at it.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved, so in this breakdown, before we move on, this so all the criticisms were heard of like people who expected bar charts, right? We understood all that. And people who are like overclocking, pointing out that it makes the comparison hard to what they're doing. All that's valid. Um, the spec in the breakdown here that I thought was most interesting, and I end up arguing this with David
Okay.
in a very different way than you and I might talk about it here, but the Wi-Fi router. It was actually interesting to me that the writer pointed out what Wi-Fi router they're using,
What's important?
and but it's like you said it with the right tone that I would expect all of the people in the audience to be like, it's important. Yeah, it's an important component. I'm going to spend 300-400 bucks on that component, right?
Yeah, I dropped
There's
400 bucks on my router. Yeah.
yeah, all right. I'm going to argue that you folks out there doing your wattage, your wattage frames per second math aren't considering the value of like future proofing your Wi-Fi and Etherneting backhaul everything that's necessary on your network just to clear up every last bit of bandwidth you have for the VR headset you want to bring into your room for
Absolutely.
this setup. And like you don't want what I just like whatever just happened to me, right? I leaned over here and I opened the door and closed it. Was that enough to send an awkward signal to my Wi-Fi router? Like, did I mess with the environment enough just doing that?
Maybe
Was
your
it something
door
else? I don't
has
know.
like
Like,
lead in it or something. I don't know. It's
I
blocking the
will.
signal.
I know. Well, I've told David I'm able to wire this studio. I'm able to wire myself into the office. So I've got a setup right now at home, Don, where this office that I'm in right now, I could hand off to another person. I could put another person in the Quest here,
Right.
and then using the V74 update that has HDMI out supposedly, I
Oh,
would
yes.
send the HDMI out signal from this office all the way 2 rooms across my home on a wired connection routing around the outside of my house in order to view what the person is doing in my office inside my Apple Vision Pro. Why would I ever want to do that? It's absurd. But imagine a scenario where your kid wants to play Beat Saber
Oh,
until
no.
midnight,
Yeah.
right? And you want to go to bed and watch your movie in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to bring up a movie at 100 inches floating right in front of me. And in this window floating over to the right, I'm watching the Quest 3 played on a wired connection, wiring all the way over to my office, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm doing in my house in order to protect myself 5 years from now from needing to use that bandwidth to do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that wireless if I don't have it to be. I need to use that wireless for something else.
No, absolutely. I mean, wireless is important. That's why I did drop $400 on a nice Asus router because I wanted two things. I wanted 6E because the Quest 3 supports 6E, and that's going to get you the fastest transmission rates. Now, it's not going to give you the best distance. You there are trade-offs. I mean, like on weeks when we're doing setup where I'm back in the bedroom, I have to switch my Wi-Fi network completely because my Wi-Fi signal on the 6E won't extend that far. So I have to go to my 5 gig or my 2.4 gig network. But having a dedicated channel specifically for your VR equipment made a huge difference for me when it came to things like AirLink, wireless streaming for recording back to MDQH. So I think one of the most important things really in that router is just to have that dedicated channel. Get a dual band, get a tri-band router. That way you can completely quarant off that one band specifically for your VR equipment and you don't get any interference. So
I'm seeing Robert Quinone is there, just changed their
yes,
card out in
I love
YouTube
that.
to become supporter again. Thank you for that. And yeah, please become a member over at uploadvr.com if you can, or on over on the YouTube channel. We get more of the money that you give to support us over on uploadvr.com. We are trying to provide benefits for both communities,
Yes, we are.
but it's going to take us time to build that engine up with our team. Don and Beck out there producing this show have been on a journey with me here, exploring what those benefits could look like. I think in real time in our recent streams with
Yes.
people, you can see discussions with Andrew Eiche over at Owlchemy Labs, Raphael, Not Suspicious in our
Such great
audience
shows.
out there, as well as gosh, we've got another one coming up Thursday that we're under embargo
we had E.
on.
McNeil. We've got the big one coming up Thursday. Do not miss Thursday. You do not want to miss Thursday. That's all I'm going to say.
And Not Suspicious saying, love the dev interviews. We love them too. And we are focusing in on them. Yeah.
He was our first.
Yep.
So you were the inaugural dev interview.
Yeah. Let's see. People talking about all the antennas and router setups. We don't have Guy Godin on the stream today to go through us with, but he's the person who lives this out day in and day out, all the various Wi-Fi router setups that people are routing their signals through.
He's
Um,
amazing.
I think we're ready to move on to the
I
next
think we
subject.
are.
We did a
Yeah,
good half hour on that. We will
we
not
did.
stop covering the new graphics cards in VR. I loved everyone sharing their system out there. The thing I love about my 2080, right? I still have the USB-C, I think
Now
virtual
that is
link
a
cable on
plus.
that thing.
That is a
I'm not.
plus.
I will take that thing.
I
Like
wanted
I've
that.
still got my old graphic. I've got a component pile of just
Mhm.
the old graphics cards that I met my partner in, right? Like
Nice.
there's a box that has the graphics card in it
Oh,
where we met, technically speaking, inside of it. And like I don't want to get rid of those
well,
old
no, man.
what do you do with them? I want to like
You could do like a
I know
collage, like on like a wall, like you could do like some modern art looking stuff and stuff like that. So, but no, you should never get rid of those. Those are great.
no more power to the component harvesters out there who have to like, okay, I can make 150 from here by selling this component, and I can
Hmm.
make 75 from like good on you for that. I should have done that with some of those components, but it's like, yeah, I've saved some of those components. All right, what do we got next,
All right.
Don?
Well, yeah, like I said in the intro, you guys already really covered this well on VR Download last Thursday. But recently, one of VR's all time classic games got a huge update over on PlayStation VR 2, and that is Waltz of the Wizard has now become the first hand tracking game that is available for that system and also Quest. So it gave UploadVR's David Heaney a really good opportunity to test them side by side. It's got an amazing article on the site. And again, this if you haven't watched last Thursday's episode of VR Down, last Thursday, right? Pretty
Sorry. Yes, we did, but
pretty
Arlen
sure,
is
yeah.
going off about his Cat 5 setup, and
Oh,
I'm
I saw
obsessed
it.
with
Yeah,
it
I
now.
kind of figured you were going to hone in on that one. But anyway, I'll get back to this. You get back to reading comments here. But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, they already covered it last Thursday. So definitely go watch that episode. It's a really great episode. Read David's article. It breaks down in depth. He's got side by side comparisons in there from the developers, testing that he did himself, a breakdown of how it performed. Just a little tease, we are actually going to be streaming this on our Friday game stream. We're going to take a little deviation. I know we've been doing a lot of mods lately. Well, we're going to kind of deviate back to PSVR 2. We haven't streamed from that system since Behemoth, I believe. So we're going to jump in and take a look at that this Friday. And I encourage everybody to join us. This will be my first time seeing that hand tracking to see if my opinions of it, kind of mesh with David's there. Now, if you've read David's article, you will see that, there are some differences. I mean, right off the bat, the PlayStation VR 2's hand tracking runs at 60 hertz in comparison to Quest 3's running at 30. So right off oh my God, you put up the I love the wizard hat. That the wizard hat makes it. But so the difference between 60 and 30 hertz, and why does that matter? Well, that matters because that's going to affect how fast the motion is on your hands. So Waltz a Wizard on Quest doesn't use Quest's fast motion mode, which is there for developers to use. It's not something you can just turn on. It's something the developers have to add. But a couple of games have added that, but they do come with trade-offs. So fast motion does reduce the maximum GPU clock speed, kind of lowers the performance. On Quest Pro, it can't be used at the same time as eye tracking, which Waltz of the Wizard does use on that system. None of those apply to Quest 3 or Quest 3S, but it is another thing that just you're going to see a little more jitter, and a slightly decreased accuracy if those Quest 3 games are in fast mode. So Aldine Dynamics decided not to do the fast mode on that. And because of it, it actually does have a little bit more jitter, but not as much as it did on PSVR 2. So David said he tried the PSVR 2 hand tracking in Waltz of the Wizard and found that in his home, at least, that there was more jitter and inferior accuracy to even Quest's fast motion mode, which he did test with XR Workout, and they have a fast motion demo. So across his article, he broke it down. I thought this was awesome how he literally did testing for latency, accuracy, jitter, fast motion, hand overlap, launching the UI, and an overall winner. I'm not going to spoil that. I want people to go read the article, but the results were surprising. So again, just tune in on Friday. You can see the wonderful thumbnail that I poorly put together here, I guess. I don't know. I do
I
love
love it.
Wizard
It's
hat.
hilarious. It's a very silly game, and
So,
the game is made the rounds as
yeah,
being such a silly playground, and it's been
my kids.
updated incessantly, right?
My kids, just like we're going to talk about our recap with Andrew, and Owlchemy. That was another thing we talked to him about, that these are the games that my children grew up playing. And I say grew up because my kids were literally in the original Waltz of the Wizard, sitting there playing. They called it Dolly, the little doll, the little rag doll that you could find underneath, and it had like physics and IK, and yeah, they would sit there and play with Dolly for like hours and like make it have conversations with the skull. And I mean, it was just hilarious to watch.
So I demand you spend at least 15 minutes on the stream with the finger slingshot. It's one of my favorite mechanics that Waltz of the Wizard does. I'm obsessed with the idea of slingshots as like how you can give a projectile to people who don't have controllers in their hands. It's such an easy way to like line up what's
that
here.
Is really cool. Yeah.
In various ways. Like you can have different types of slingshots that way. Love that mechanic. Let's see. Arlen talking about self-hosting controllers. And look, Arlen, I spent far too much time last night exhausting myself. I'm gonna collapse after our stream today because I was obsessed with an idea that I think I can talk about here on stream. I don't think I'm violating anything to just talk about this idea with you. But Arlen, you're out there in our community, and I'm gonna take us on a wild ride here through the dream game of my like that of what I want out of VR. I want this game. I think it should exist. I think it can exist, Don. I think it can be made. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready, Don?
Bring it. Hit me. Pitch me.
It's Deadpool.
30-second elevator pitch right here.
Deadpool and Wolverine. It needs to exist.
I'm Deadpool.
Right? All right. I'm Wolverine. Okay. All right. So Don's Deadpool. I'm Wolverine. And I'm going to play this game with a pair of wristbands. Okay?
Oh, yes. Okay. Now
the wristbands are going to track my movements and sense when I send the will of my blades through my wrists, right? Okay. I'm going to feel the blades of Wolverine pop out from my knuckles as Wolverine. Oh. And you're going to have the controllers over in your hands. And we're going to destroy the Marvel Universe as Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh man, this is like making my heart swell. And Arlen as well. I like that idea so much. It makes me hurt. Arlen, do not miss Thursday. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. We want it. We need it. And if Mark Zuckerberg has any money left in his war chest, I would like that game to be funded, no matter how much money it loses. Right?
God,
like we need it. It needs to exist. It fits too much. It's right. It puts people to bed on this idea of VR not being in the future, right? Like what we just outlined can work. What I just outlined can work with the mechanics and the hardware that devs are going to have in their hands in the future.
Yeah. Casey Chiefs, thank you so much for joining. And yes, in less than 1 month, we may not have Gradon anymore. That is true.
Casey Chiefs is the one who's waiting for that deadline.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, there are some people who are probably going to miss Gradon when he's gone. And, I mean, in a way, I will too. It's been kind of like, I really would like for people to see me the way that you see me here in the studio. But I think we were joking the other day. We were talking about did I tell you like I want to make a coffee mug that just has a picture of Gradon on the front and it just says hashtag.
Yeah, I love it.
And
it would be cool is when you put the coffee in it, it heats up and your pigment returns.
It could be one of the. Oh my God! See, you're blowing my mind with this now, even. So let us know in the comments. You want a Gradon mug? Let us know. We'll
become a member of UploadVR.com so we can get the color changing Gradon mug added to our collection.
Gray
I will
done
not
grew on me
miss
like
the
a fungus.
allusions to cult behavior. That is entirely favor. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Like
Yeah, it is.
there are going to be cults in VR, right? Like it's
There
going to
will be.
happen.
I mean, I started, I guess, the first one. I don't know, maybe. Beck has joined. We got Gray Beck. I've seen you pop in as Gray Ian for like a split second, so there's possibility.
That's right. Yeah, I
It's
mean
like
it's
you're
the
on the
underlying
fence. It's like you're
reality
on the fence.
on which we live here in the meta.
The
I'm
meta,
not going to say the word. I'm not going to finish that word. I'm not going to
the
give him that.
marketing term from 2 years ago. Yes.
All right. Yeah, so the comments are all over the cult that we started. We're
Yes.
apologizing to Onakazi for that.
Yes. Hashtag not a cult.
We will have we're being very silly today, but over the course of the over the course of the next couple months, Don and I were talking about this. We're actually likely to get very serious on a couple streams as
No,
we
we are.
we test some very serious accessories that are priced at the other end of the spectrum that most people are used to, right? Like the market is clearly out there for 20, 30, 40, $50 little plastic accessories that you add to your VR headset. But the things that we've had arrive at our doorsteps are like
They're more
hundreds and hundreds of bucks.
prosumer. Yeah.
And I'm going to argue, like, after that first section of this, Don, right? We'll go tune in on VR Download as David and Heaney and I have our weekly debate and discussion about VR news. But Meta has invested so much in, like, what's the minimum viable VR headset? What is the minimum package that we need to ship for people to be excited? And the more and more I look at the Quest 3, what I see is a VR headset that does great hand tracking with 2 tracked objects shipping in the box that I can then attach to an assortment of other objects
Yes.
that will be enormously cool for me to use.
Yes.
So I think that's a trend that is likely to be a big one over the course of a year. And it's one we're going to be chasing on exactly, what can we stick the Quest 3 controllers in? What do we get out of that? Is it worth it? And all those questions. We're going to have people in our audience getting into that with us on exactly what does that market look like. All that's to say, Don, right? We just spent the first part of this discussion, right, talking about the thousands of dollars people drop on their PCs. And we're looking at it going, oh, there's so many people that are arguing about whether the minimum viable Quest is $300 or $200.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Like, and gosh, if you can bring it down to $300 and your budget is $1,000, what do you want to do with $700 on top of the HMD? So now you've got $700 to play with in the budgets, of those people out there. If you begin with VR as your base, like that's my building block of my future home entertainment system, what do I get with the rest of my budget? And so, like, I have a really hard time going on the show with David where he's like, $300 is the right, clear. I'm speaking for him. These aren't his words. So I apologize if you're watching this, David, I've misconstrued you. But like, we look at the Quest 3 as like, this is the minimum viable PC. But what we never ever do is, okay, if you get the minimum viable PC headset on your head, what do you go and spend your first $400 on to do with that headset? And yes, $100 of it is games, but 300 of it could be these hardware accessories that you outfit your HMD with.
Yeah, I mean, it could be peripherals. I mean, obviously, I'm a little more practical. So, this is a headset that requires charging. So I would look at a good dock, like a good charging dock would be something, if I had a little extra money, I would definitely want for my Quest 3 or 3S.
You're not thinking big enough. I want a bag. It's a bag. I don't want a dock. I think we skip over the docks and we go straight to bags so that the headsets can be used in trains, planes, and other public transit.
That would be amazing. And I know, for those of us who travel, I would definitely like to have something like that to carry with me, to GDC here in a couple of weeks. I think that would be amazing to have a bag that would keep all of my stuff charged while it's in there. So, and sorry about that, guys. I was choking a little bit. So hopefully I didn't cough over everybody.
We do not want to die on stream, and if we
No,
do,
we
we
talked about that. No,
apologize
no,
to you for that. Yeah,
yeah,
in
no.
advance. Let's see. Yeah, the $40 bag Ian posted a couple months ago. Yeah, I used
Yes,
that
that one.
one, and I
Yeah,
also went and got the I went and got the one for the Apple Vision Pro, the new Belkin one,
nice.
and it is the tightest fit for an entire VR system that I've seen yet. I can fit my itty bitty fold up keyboard. I can fit a mouse into it, and then there's like a compartment for the battery. Very, very small little case, and then you can stick that case inside of other cases. I've decided like any portable computer needs to go into a case, except for maybe the phone. And the only reason the phone doesn't is a remarkable thing of business, of the way like Apple makes you feel okay when you
Yeah,
drop a slab of glass on the ground, right?
right. Okay, so KC Chiefs, literally dying in VR would be crazy. So here's my expansion on that. Would it be crazy, or would it be at the end of it all, you just took the headset off and now you're in your next life?
Yep. That's so Andrew, go check out the alchemy discussion
Oh yeah.
with Andrew. And I remember, during that discussion, Andrew said that there were stories that he wasn't aware, like he had heard some of the early stories, but Andrew is the current CEO of Alchemy. He was not the founder, so he took over for the founders. So he didn't see some of the earliest days necessarily when they were working out of a house. And I remember the founders at Alchemy telling the story of working in a basement on VR in headset. Imagine them at the job, at Job Simulator. They're at the desk, and they're like, trying to figure out what works,
Mm-hmm.
and everything goes dark.
Oh yeah.
But the
Oh yeah.
thing is, the room that you're in has no light whatsoever to begin with. You're in a basement that gets no external light.
Mm-hmm.
So there you are in the darkness, and the power has been cut to your
No,
building,
it's a trippy feeling.
and your life has ended. You've died. That's it.
No,
You're
it's a trippy
gone.
feeling. No, this happened to me in VR chat one night. I'm not kidding you. It was when they were doing really early days of karaoke. I don't know if you ever went to any of the karaoke events that Gunter used to hold, but we were doing karaoke, and I'm literally up on stage and I'm wailing out. I think I was singing like "Don't Fear the Reaper" from Blue Oyster Cult, or something from like Pink Floyd, like "Comfortably Numb" or something. And there was a raging thunderstorm going on. I mean, I'm in my DK2 at this point. This is pre-consumer, and pew, power goes out. Everything stops. It is completely black in my room. I'm in the headset. I can't see. I had no light leakage, and for a split second, I was like, "Whoa, did I just?" you know and then I realized, I was like, I took my headphones off, I could hear the thunderstorm. Okay, I'm good. So yeah, it is
Yep.
a freaky feeling.
Yep. And Chrome Colossus saying, lucky you weren't zapped. I remember us having discussions early on, early podcasts. So if you go watch the really, really, really scary avatars we had when we began doing these podcasts, some of those episodes were recorded on the Valve Index
Oh wow.
on a potato internet connection that was routed over like a point-to-point Wi-Fi connection to my neighbor's house, where he had proper cable internet a mile away.
Oh
And
wow.
it was going from the beautiful Valve Index microphones through that weird connection out to all over there through these weird avatars. This thing, we're on like a 5-year path here. You can see in this show, on that 5-year or so path, the improvements in streaming quality, the
Mm-hmm.
improvements in avatar quality, the improvements in hand tracking, moving to
Well,
these, right?
obviously,
I was using the index
avatar
controllers
quality, I
for a little
mean,
while.
has really improved over the years. I
No, I'm
mean,
sorry for Grey Dawn. That
just
we
messing with you.
apologize on behalf of all the uh, all the people that you're offended by with your gray persona.
No,
Um,
I think they love it. So
I love music in VR. When an artist or my brother and friends and I comes out with a new album, we meet up to VR to listen. But the second someone starts singing, the latency kills it. Our first episodes on this show were sometimes with 3, 4, 5 people.
yeah.
We had a panel over there on the left side of the room. If you listen to some of our podcasts, even, you will hear occasional moments of conversation getting recorded out of order. Because the 3 audio streams have
Mm-hmm.
converged in the wrong in the wrong sequence of events, and like you'll get a laugh maybe a half a second before the right time. It's very weird. I remember when I was at the Orange County Register, a piano company was based near Oculus, that same area of Orange County, but they made pianos. And I remember they were doing this demonstration where what's the guy? His name is it David Cage?
Sounds familiar.
This musician who does really avant-garde music with really strange time signatures, where like
Hmm.
it'll be silent for 10 minutes and then suddenly a bunch of stuff happens in the musical piece that he's written. So what they did was, down in Orange County, they were like, we're going to start this part of the music piece here, and then someone in New York is going to start on another one of our pianos, and we're going to play it together. We're going to do a duet from these two physical locations. And it was fascinating because what they're essentially doing is latency testing exactly what we are discussing here. The problem of, how do you have four performers in four locations all create a garage band together?
Yeah. Yeah. And latency would be
All
difficult
right.
to work
Are you
out in that.
are you muted over there, Don?
Am I? No, I'm not
No?
muted. Are you?
Okay. I'll
No,
figure out what's wrong with my
Beck
audio
said I'm
here.
not muted. So, but yeah, no, latency would be. I mean, there's also the live theater stuff that they were doing in VR chat for a while. I can't imagine that once the latency got bad, having all of those synced up. I mean, sometimes like we get comments like it seems like we talk over each other sometimes, and sometimes that is just a latency issue as well. So, it is difficult to sync all of this up from time to time, but. I just wanted to, Sampler 19 says, I just started with VR chat. LOL. Well, if you just started with VR chat, Sampler 19, you definitely go and check out, just a little selfless, shameless pitch here. Go check out the series that we did on the channel and on the website last year, where I broke down some of the best worlds that you can experience in VR chat. Beck and I were just talking about one this morning, Magnetize. You brought that up the other day, and Magnetize is still one of my very favorite experiences in that world. Any of the worlds by Fins, but definitely if you are just getting started with VR chat, you're just starting to go down that rabbit hole, absolutely check out those videos, check out those articles. It's going to give you probably, I think, what do we cover? 30? I think the 30 best VR worlds that I found over the years throughout my time in VR chat.
Interesting. We've got the super fans out there in the audience who are ready for the implant, right? That's a fascinating point to get into those conversations with the VR fans out there, right? You've just put on a Quest 2 or a Quest 3 onto someone's head, and then you've sat down to have a very heavy discussion about how the world is going to change once everyone is wearing these things. And you get to the point of the conversation where you start talking about current world leaders and the chips that they might implant in your head, and you start freaking out, right? You freak out, the other person freaks out, and like I always remember whenever we bring up the chip idea, that's a marker in the sand for a lot of people. I think there's plenty of people who are going to be fine with HMDs being where they check out, right? Like they're not going to go past that.
Yeah. My thing was contacts. I was like, when are we going to get the contact lenses? Just like pop the contact lenses in. They can just immediately, and now there's no headset anymore, and you're just like fully immersed. So I'm a dreamer. I don't know, many years away, but that would be cool.
Yeah, the thing that people that like I'm going to balance out any of the naysayers with the implant ideas, right? The accessibility uses for the implantation connection between VR and your brain is going to open worlds up to people who have worlds closed on them, right?
This is
Quite
true.
literally, right? The world has closed on people who are locked into their bodies, and a chip can bring them out of that, which is a wildly big thing that we will encounter. We're encountering the basic parts of that journey right now. Like those research things are happening this year. So you're on that journey with us, and thank you for being on that journey with us, especially to our members who have supported us. We got another subject here to close out the show, Don.
Well,
Anything
not
else you want
really.
to talk?
We were just really recapping. We really kind of got off subject. I mean, we were kind of recapping Andrew Eiche and the Devstream we did with him. But I think just talking about the Devstreams in general,
Yeah.
as we kind of close it out. We've now had three, and we got a really cool one coming up on Thursday that no one wants to miss. So do mark your calendars for that. But if you are a VR, AR, XR developer out there, you've got something interesting that you want to show us, talk about, please hit us up. Find us anywhere you can. I know you can get Ian on Blue Sky. You can still find me over on Twitter. I won't call it X, or Blue Sky. You can hit us at tips@uploadvr.com. We want to hear from you. This is something that we are really enjoying. I think the developers are also really getting something out of this show that we're doing now. So please become a part of it. We would love to have you.
Yeah, so I just hit publish on Don Carson with the principles of Walkabout Mini Golf Course Design. So that is about a 45-minute conversation that just happened in this studio immediately before I jumped in here with Don Squared here in Missouri.
Yeah. Okay.
So I talked with Oregon out there with Don Carson. And just you can go through just these handful of conversations we've been able to record so far. Raphael out there with Not Suspicious in there. Yeah, the
Yes,
article
Not Suspicious.
being
Yes.
yeah, so Not Suspicious has found the member article where we are linking the Don Carson video. So that video is now public on this channel. You can go see the Don Carson video that we recorded. What we did here, essentially, we used our platform to do a notification for our site members to let them know that that was being recorded. I'm sorry that we couldn't notify our YouTube members at the same time in that same way. We're trying to figure this out, but we don't control the notification systems here, and we also don't control when you come to our site to look for information. So we're feeling the waters out here of how we actually get these cool things we're doing in front of eyeballs. But wait, what we have noticed, what the devs have noticed, is between these streams from Raphael and E. McNeil and Andrew Eiche and the one we've got Thursday and then Don Carson, we are in the exact same format in this studio that devs themselves, when they're working with teams, get into with their teammates to make notes as they're going through these VR games and talk to one another about what can be improved, what's failing, what's working. It's quite a thing when you've been a VR developer out there for, let's say, 4 months, just quietly coding away at your computer, and now you've got to release your game to people out there. Well, a lot of times you go drop it into a Discord group and then you just wait hours for them to report back with some impressions. What we've actually got here is a recreation of the thing some teams have at, dozens of people, where Don is playing the game up here on the screen. We're chatting with the developer about what's working, what's not. And in some cases, it's a multiplayer game. We just jump in together and we're now playing it together.
Yes.
And gosh, if you want to get a dev inside of the space where they feel comfortable talking about what they do, put them inside of the world that they actually made, right? And so we're able to do that with this, with everything we've done here, with back out there producing these shows for us, relieving Don and I to focus on the things right in front of us, a dev out there, human, a player out there, a human, right? And we're talking about where they're meeting in the middle, right?
It's incredible.
It's working really well. And Don, you've traveled through the physical world, gone to events with various devs over the last year. You've gotten to go face to face. I'm going to keep repeating this on streams, but there is a disconnect between players and the people who make games. And we don't have that disconnect here. We are the players.
No,
we spend hours in your worlds. And when you see us you know, get tired or like, go like this when we get, when we like get bored after 10 seconds in your world, it's not because your world like made us like we have an axe to grind against your world. It's because we spent 10 seconds in a place that didn't engage us, right? Like, and it's not an insult to talk about that,
Not at
right?
all. Not at all.
Oh, I wish
Mm-mm.
there was a job market for VR. KC Chiefs, we totally understand,
I
and
get it.
that is go to the Don Carson interview where I addressed that concern with him. I got into that subject, and the thing that I unfolded with Don Carson, the thing that like we're doing on these streams is I don't think we can recommend for you like places to go find jobs. Work anywhere can become a hellscape if the wrong people take the reins and have the wrong rules over how you do things. Um, what you can start searching for is, teams that you like working with. You can start
Absolutely.
considering people that are going to make your work better and whose work you can make better by just giving them that honest, direct feedback. And what we got out of that conversation with Don Carson is they've built that at Walkabout Mini Golf on Mighty Coconut. They have that team and they are loving what they're doing. As they're building that. And so like we can't tell you how to go and launch an app like Walkabout did back in 2020 and then ride this wave from Quest 1 to Quest 2 to Quest 3 building out this incredible theme park of attractions, right? You can't go do that right now. You can't recreate those same steps. What we can do is point you to the people at Walkabout Mini Golf and the other studios that have found their way through this market as little cockroaches scurrying on the ground, waiting for that moment when you can jump from Walkabout to puzzling places with a Slack message that pops up for 5 seconds in between them, gets dismissed, and then
Mhm.
you're back enjoying your VR landscape again.
Yeah. I
So
wanna say
yeah,
something real quick. Mr. Mycelium, absolutely. VR still feels like a hobbyist market to me. Sure, there are outliers, but it may be better to build something out of passion. And if it happens to make money, then great. And I love what you said when you said build something out of passion. Because the best games, the best experiences that we've ever had in VR normally come from developers who have that passion.
yeah.
And and I agree, don't look at it as I'm going to become the next Beat Saber, I'm going to become the next, the next big greatest thing in VR. Just do it. Pick up the editor. If you have the inkling, if you are a creator, if you are a developer, pick up the editor, learn it, learn VR, make something with passion, make something out of your own heart, and put it out there for the world. And you never know. You never know what's going to
So,
happen.
so we've got CJ out there. I think this is probably time to close off this stream here, and I'm going to
I think
mention
so.
CJ here because of this loop we've got. Subcog. I prefer games that are built from corporate
Cynicism.
cynicism.
Those are the best.
Go watch the Andrew Eiche conversation and hear him say that their games. He noticed that their games work the best when there is a foil for them to fight against.
Yes.
And you go back and look at their journey through their games, you'll see that they kind of lost the foil, the fight, the person you're fighting, or like who's trying to tear down your day over the course. And well, I think they're keying in on that again with dimensional double shift. So we're going to see additional places added to that free to play game, and I cannot wait to see where they go with that. Yeah, there's going to be. So Mr. Mycelium's comment, I love the hobbyist market. The thing that I want to point out with VR is like what we're going to do on the stream and what we've got with all these accessories around there is there's dozens of hobbies
Yeah, there
that
are.
are all made better by
There
VR.
are.
And all of those dozens of hobbies are all like blocked by the gatekeepers still at the front entry. The platform ticket taker saying, we're not going to let you use those tracked objects unless you spend an exorbitant amount of money on tracking base stations, or you have to use Steam, or you've got to use a Meta account, right? There's still that that person, that bouncer at the front door, ticket taker, stopping all those hobbyists from realizing their hobbyist dreams, right in
Yes.
their own closet. So like, it's one of those things that we are unfolding on these conversations with people. And then what was it? There was someone else here that let's see, Sampler 19. I'd love a walkabout mini golf pinball course. That is a cool idea. And there was I want to address all these comments here since it's such an engaging.
Yeah, I know. They're like it's starting like we were ending, but now we're getting such great comments.
Yeah. Maybe David can add the members only hours show to call to action to become a member.
That was interesting.
Good idea.
I gotta say, Chrome Colossus, I
that.
love this. I'm still making VR stuff in dreams that maybe 59 people will ever enjoy.
Okay, yeah,
because
CJ.
it's too damn magical to not keep going.
So CJ, so Andrew, so a couple comments I want to call out here. Andrew Eiche got joking with Arlen and said, "You must be a game developer at heart," because Arlen started joking exactly the way Andrew and all the other developers at Owlchemy have noted. And then CJ, the thing I'm going to leave on the note, these conversations flow in a very organic way, and Dawn has been on this trip as we've organically figured out how to do these things. CJ, those videos I watched of the TARDIS situation, one of the rooms that they went into, I brought up on the last conversation that we just had with Don Carson. And what I saw in one of those rooms were these two Doctor Who superfans who have an entire like map built out of all these rooms that they want to build. And the map between the rooms is all like charted out. And they've built like a 3D model in space in front of them of how all these rooms are going to interconnect. And then at other parts of this video, they went through various iterations of this TARDIS design or various types of TARDISes. And some of them have like swivel screens where you can actually move the monitors around in front of you. Some of them have those weird permission systems. But all of it, what I saw were, I didn't get the ages of the people who made the worlds, but I saw adults playing with their imaginations in the exact same way we did as children.
Roleplay.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing in my mind.
Roleplay is a beautiful thing.
To see these people realizing I've got unlimited space around me, unlimited building materials. It's like that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 where Star-Lord goes, "I'm going to make a lot of weird stuff." Right?
I love that. I love that.
I love it. I love it. It's a beautiful feeling, and it is what we were honing in on here. So thank you for being here on this journey, Dawn. Thank you for being able to get this with us. We've got all those worlds in VR chat that you can go check out. We've got these amazing things that we're highlighting from our community.
Absolutely.
And you members out there who are supporting us, whether it's on YouTube or the member site or coming into the studio for one of these conversations with us, you're helping make this magic possible. It is a really, really good feeling to to chat all of these things with you.
So much.
We have dreams of, movie screenings in VR one day, celebrity attended golf tournaments, right?
We're getting there.
We think VR is going to get there. This stuff is going to happen. This is mainstream stuff one day, right, Don?
Absolutely.
This is we truly believe this is the path, right?
This is the place that you get to live your dreams, and your reality can become part of it. So,
well, Arlen has now started the trend. I'm going to call it. I would love to see the names of your pets. Especially if they're sci-fi themed or fantasy themed. I'd love to see the names of pets.
Neelix passed. My Kaylee Neelix, he passed a couple years ago. I had Neelix and Q were my cats, like before I moved to Missouri. Those were my boys.
Neelix and Q. That's a great name.
Yeah, Q was a big, fat, 30-pound American long hair, completely black. Wow. Yeah, beautiful cat. Raised him he was found in a parking lot and given to me for my 21st birthday or 22nd birthday by my sister. He was so small you could fit him in the palm of a hand. I had to bottle feed him, and he ended up being like 35 pounds.
Oh my gosh,
at the end of his run. So
I see Tank out there. Yeah, we love. So we just lost Yeah, we lost a cat here recently.
Oh,
Very heartbreaking
oh,
here.
I'm sorry.
And we've got plenty more here, and our pets are the architecture of our home offices, right? Like
They are.
they're a feature, they're a fundamental feature of our home
You
offices.
started this show with with one of your cats on your lap, and
Yeah,
I
that was
started with a
Ziggy.
dog nudging up to me, going, "Hey, buddy."
Yep.
So
Yep. We want to hear those dogs more. And one of my favorite things that happens in VR is when the dog talks, it makes Don's mouth move over
oh,
here for the
does it?
dog. So
I
the
didn't know
dog is
that.
talking through Don.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, when that
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, those little things like that's the
Well,
Don, like
the
remember
dog
you
gets
asked
to
that
embody
question.
me. Yeah, the dog gets to embody me
Yeah.
now, I guess. So that was great.
Oh,
So,
Adrian from Monk is out there.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I saw
wow, I
actually
love it.
Ambrose from Monk was out there too. We got two. Oh no, okay, it's Arlen on both of them. Arlen must be a Monk fan. I'm about halfway through Monk actually.
We've got
Uh,
Prince Caspian out there. Yeah. All right.
that
Well,
is
I love
awesome.
it. And so we love hearing where you're tuning in from, and now we love
Yeah,
hearing
your pets'
what
names.
animals are in the room
We
with
just love hearing
you.
about you guys. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, this is a collaboration. It's not just me and Ian sitting here talking. We love talking to y'all and hearing your stories and hearing stuff about you as well. So,
Yeah, Dawn is coming in here late at night sometimes, and we've
oh
got
yeah,
great ideas for future streams. I'm going to encourage you right now, like if you are super fans out there, there's about 50 of you out there watching us live, and then hundreds of you watching us after the stream.
mm,
Uh, go hit the like buttons on our
please do.
previous dev
Yeah,
streams. Give those watches if you can, but anything you can do to tell the algorithm that we are on the right path here with this coverage, give our analytics a little, nudge in the right direction to sort of just, convince the algorithms that that what we're doing here is as valuable as everything we're feeling right now.
yeah.
With this collaboration that Donna's talking about.
Beck's
So
asking for people to send in pet pics, and they might actually appear on Stevie.
I like Beck. I mean, Beck just made a new rule. Beck is
Uh,
now the editor of UploadVR.com because
yes,
they made a new rule that I can't disagree with. If anyone sends in a pet picture, I might put it on the TV. I will ask Beck to try to verify that the pets are real,
I mean,
so we don't let AI pets
I
up
could
on the
send her
TV.
pictures of Winston on a cat on the catwalk. I've got cool VR pictures. I've got like my Mr. Kitty flying in my yaw. I've got my Winston sitting on the catwalk, cat on a catwalk. So
I'm not. You're not going to get any argument from me, right? Like more cats, more dogs, the
okay,
better. I think our numbers are going to go up the more we inject
the
into the
more pets.
stream.
I mean,
I
the
don't
pets of
like.
VR. We do a
It's
calendar, the pets of the UVR calendar. We'll add it to the merch, great on mugs, the pets of VR calendar,
It's a VR, yeah.
So, and real quick, I just want to aggress because it's, I guess Admiral Snack Bar is just joining us. So when will Great On be fixed? We talked a little bit about that in the beginning. Hopefully, I don't remember what the exact hard deadline is for David to update
It was
the
like
studio.
March, but I mean, like we'll
It's
see if
coming
Meta
up.
actually turns it off. Right? They've already turned off the texture
That's
that's
true.
apparently not being loaded by Don's avatar. We
Yeah,
are
that's
sorry
true.
about that, and I am appreciative that people are like so anxious to see our new avatars. It's going to be a weird day to see
My new one looks a
whatever
little
we switch
different.
to.
Yeah,
Well,
it's,
we've got other things to do before avatars, guys.
oh yeah, we do.
We have other things we have yet to do on this broadcast. There's a situation where I'm in a Vision Pro and Don is in a Quest 3, and we're both in the same piece of software, and we're flipping back and forth
That would be
between those
awesome.
or split screen. We're this close to being able to pull that off, and we can do some really
We
funky
could do a
things
cool
there with just
stream like that.
comparing.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
split screen it. You're in the Apple Vision Pro. I'm in the Quest 3. We're playing a game with, co-op or against each other. So, I mean, I'm all about that, and that brings up a good little plug for Friday game streams. We are starting to do some really fun stuff on Fridays. Those streams are really coming together. Beck and I are finding our groove. Ian joins us from time to time. I'm pitching the rest of the Upload VR staff on possibly joining for a very special stream that I don't know if I should tease or not, but David said he was on board. So I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, I
We've
mean, like,
almost got all the stations filled at this point. So
yeah, I forgot about that one. I forgot.
yeah.
I just forgot that it lives.
No, so if you guys would love, as we all know, we are Star Trek fans. If you would like to see the UploadVR team jump on the bridge of the Enterprise D and man some stations and play Bridge Crew one of these days with a really cool intro that I made, that I'm very proud of. Please let us know in the comments, because it's an older game, but I think it would be a hoot.
I think. I mean, here's the thing. I've let other people be the captain, and it didn't feel right. And
You
like,
can be the captain if you have to be the captain.
well, like, no, okay, I could be,
I mean, the credits do
fly the
say
plane. I'll do tactical, right? Okay.
The credits that I made do say, Don as Captain Don. But,
Well, so I picture you as security. Like, I want
you
you
think
manning
tactical?
the
You want
torpedoes.
me to be a tactical? Okay, so you could sit Captain's chair. Yeah, I'll take Worf.
And but the thing is, David,
I'll
I
fire
want
the
David
PQs.
to be science, and science isn't like I want him. I don't want him manning any of the actual panels. I want him standing up there at the view screen,
just standing
just
on the
looking
bridge.
out at the scene and trying to analyze what's out there. I
even want to get Ensign Beck on this one. I think Beck should come.
Yeah,
and play with us.
we can get back in there too. Oh my gosh, people are freaking out
amazing.
about Star
That'd be
Trek
amazing.
Bridge Crew. We do have. I think we've self-selected in this audience for Star Trek fans.
Yes, I'm
so
sorry.
we're
I
feeling
didn't
it.
mean to tease it, but I figured if I did, then it would have to happen. So there you go. Now we're gonna have to find a way to play Bridge Crew together. So.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool that my son jumped on Orion Drift at 10 a.m. for early access. He's 10 years old, hanging with the devs, and seems like it made a positive impact on him.
I tried to get in yesterday. I couldn't get in for the preview yesterday, but
yeah, we need to get Don in there because Orion's Drift is a very big deal with a lot of magic in there.
I played the first time they opened it up. I did get a chance to jump in there, and I will say, you've talked about it on stream before. I love their world system, having to move between the worlds and the different games. So definitely we'll be checking that out very soon.
Yeah, so send in your real pets. I will only accept real pets. Don't make it hard for Beck to verify those real pets, and I'm not going to complain when Beck puts those real pets up on the TV behind us. I'm going to ask what the name of that pet is, and to hear any details about the pet. So love that bit of detail. That's new policy on our shows going forward. Go check out our recent devcasts with everyone out there. Highly encourage checking those streams out because of the density of detail into those dev journeys, the span of time that they cover. And thank you all for tuning in with us over the course of this show. We'll be back on Thursday with VR Download with David Heaney. At the conclusion of that show, I am planning to go into a walkabout room for about an hour. And so on that member-only blog post that we have on the website, you can still become a member over there on the website. And then at the conclusion of VR Download on Thursday, I'm going to go back to that article and update the paragraph with the room code that I'm going inside. And so all you should be able to do, all you have to do at home, hypothetically, is refresh that page. You'll see the room code in there. And you can come meet me, and we can play a round or two of golf right after VR Download.
Are you playing or streaming?
No, just gonna first come first serve. Whoever can fit into the room. I have no idea if anyone will use the room code. I mean, it's possible no one will be able to get to the room code because of the article being buried for a couple days and not enough members looking it up. But I mean, this is a direct call out there that on Thursday, right after VR Download, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That article that is on UploadVR.com that says members first schedule, I'll go into that article and put in the room code, and then after I'm offline, I'll delete the room code, and that feels like a really nice in and out way of saying, hey, I'm here online and ready to meet a couple of you, and no, I'm not online anymore.
CJ7, you're on fire today. Like and subscribe, or it means you hate puppies.
Yeah.
You hate animals if you don't subscribe.
I mean, Don, right? It's about one of the only things we do like from the physical world, right?
No, yeah. I don't like much in the physical world, but I do like my pets. Yeah. And a few humans. There are a few humans that are acceptable as well. But
okay, Becca's saying do it even if you do hate puppies, but then block yourself after you hit the like button.
Yes. Don't tell us you hate
yourself.
Puppies.
So hit the like button and then leave. on the way
Oh,
out, if that's
David, to
you.
do a Golf Plus match with the viewers too. That would be interesting.
Golf Plus is going to be a big one, yeah. And I've talked to the Golf Plus people. They're doing some magic over there. The subscription program that they're building
Yeah,
as
I
well
love
is
that
a
game.
piece of it's a work of art, so to
That's
speak. Yeah.
that's one that I was going to bring up when we were starting to talk about peripherals. Why do I not have a tracked golf club that is just fully tracked that I don't have to put a controller on? That would be amazing for games like Golf Plus, and
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got some amazing content coming for you with Don and I getting into all those accessories we sort of teased here today. We're getting into this real groove here where we can just come in here and talk with you about anything. If you have any interesting subjects to bring up, bring it up in our comments. We will remember your names. Should the mass market finally arrive here, as we all think it will, you guys are the ones we will remember in the comments
absolutely.
going forward as soon as those chat windows start flying because of all the other folks jumping in here in the near future.
Yes,
So
sir.
let's wrap that up for today. Thank you to Beck for putting this out, for dealing with my craziness this morning as we streamed Don Carson, and then we got Don Hopper squared here immediately after here, and then streaming for all of you as we discussed some very difficult subjects, jumping from the 5090 over to the Andrew Eiche discussion. Yeah, hit the like button on those videos. Watch us over on those channels, on those deep dives, and we'll see you next time.